Like it or not, characters are one of the 3 pillars of storytelling, and they come with a collection of archetypes. Today, we are ranking character archetypes. Our categories will be S tier, give me 100 more of these. A tier, always a good time. B tier, I don't hate you. C tier, we need to talk. F tier, please stop writing this. Let's start with heroic protagonist. This is the main hero of the story, often displaying courage, honor, and a willingness to sacrifice for the greater good. We're thinking people like Frodo Baggins from Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter from Harry Potter, Percy Jackson from Percy Jackson. You get the point. If they are heroic, they are this archetype. It's kind of a basic one, really. I think everyone's seen this particular character, and when you're reading a story like this, it's very much a good versus evil situation where you've got this one character that you are kind of following the whole way, and we've seen it a lot throughout. You know, when you're a kid, you see a lot of these types of characters. Trying to think, what do I think about this one? Is it always a good time? Because I've got to think about these categories more seriously now that I've named them. Can't say that I always have a good time with these characters. I think they're all right. I think it's going to be going solidly in the B. I don't hate you. Don't hate you all that much. You're okay. You do your job. You know, I'm not like big on you, but here we are. Number 2, we've got the Chosen One, which has already been done in this series before, but this is from the point of view of whether I like reading them as a character. These are heroes that are singled out by destiny or prophecy to save the world, often from humble origins, and they discover a unique power. This is people like Harry Potter, obviously from Harry Potter, Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender, Randall Thor from The Wheel of Time. These are people with quite a lot of kind of pressure on them to be able to stand up to the big bad and save the day in the end. I think we already know that this particular archetype has done before many a times, and we've seen it through different various ways. There are various lenses that each character has. I mean, Robert Jordan pretty much based majority of his initial premise on this whole archetype. So do you know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say give me 100 more, because the Chosen One is always going to be something that can be played about with, mainly because we know it so well. And there's always potentially a chance for us to be able to see it grow. Another one that we saw in the tropes video is the reluctant hero. These are characters that are thrust into adventure against their will, and they grow into the role of hero through trials and self-discovery. We got Bilbo Baggins, we got Jon Snow, Kaladin Stormblessed. These are all characters that, you know, didn't initially want to be involved in this. They just wanted to, you know, play their part in life and be in society in the place where they were, deemed to be in society, and then greater things came along and forced them to be reluctantly a hero. I think these people are probably a little bit better than the heroic ones, because at least they have a little bit of personality about them. I can't say that I love them when I'm reading them, to be quite honest with you. I don't hate them either. It's hard. Are they always a good time? Maybe not. I don't think they're always a good time either. This is tricky because I really don't like the reluctance of a reluctant hero to get started, but when you give me these examples, like, you know, Bilbo Baggins, I kind of understand his frustration. If anything, that whole thing was very frustrating for me. The whole situation of how The Hobbit started, that was a very frustrating thing to watch. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go down the route of saying, you know what, I don't hate you. These are in the B category, I think. Next up, we have got Rogue with a Heart of Gold. These are lovable thieves or outlaws who ultimately choose to do the right thing despite self-serving tendencies. These are characters like Han Solo in Star Wars, like Locke Lamora from Liza Locke Lamora, Matt Cawthorn from Wheel of Time. Yeah, I gotta say, these people have more personality to them. They're more exciting. They're more different. They're more unpredictable. I think these ones are really fun to have around, and I'm gonna say that they're always a good time. Moving on, we got the Barbarian Warrior, a savage fighter from the wilderness, prized for strength and ferocity, often with a strict code of honor. You've got characters like Conan from Conan the Barbarian, Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones, and Karsa Orlong from Malazan. I think these characters they're good fun, they're interesting, they're quite formidable. I think there's like a level of fear that I've got of these characters. I wouldn't want to go near them, but the fact that they've got honor, and the fact, you know, they use all of their abilities for good for the most part, although they do some questionable things if they are Khal Drogo, but we won't go into that. It's a whole different debate for a whole different video. So either way, long story short, I think that these characters, they're gonna fall into the I don't hate you category. I don't hate you. I don't hate you. I don't love you. I think you're okay, you know? Next up, we've got the Noble Knight. A chivalrous warrior who upholds justice and honor, usually aligned with a kingdom or a moral code. We're talking Sir Lancelot from Arthurian legend, Brienne of Tarth from Game of Thrones, Sir Galahad from Arthurian legend. There's a lot of people that are from Arthurian legend that apparently are these noble knights. They're very good because they're very inherently good people, and they've got a code of honor. And that code of honor is extremely interesting when put to the test, and they have to make a decision as to whether they are noble to the right cause. They can be quite interesting, and you know what? I think a noble knight is always a good time, so they're going in the A category for me. Now we have the anti-hero, who is a protagonist lacking traditional heroic qualities, operating in shades of grey with flawed motives, like Geralt of Rivia from The Witcher, Morpheus from The Sandman, Sandor Clegane from Game of Thrones. These are characters that, you know, they do the good things that you want everyone to do. There are just some things in stories and in life where you're like, someone's gotta do something good here. We need justice. But then there are characters that need to overstep the mark just a little bit, right? And if they don't overstep the mark, then they're not going to be able to achieve things. And, you know, the general hero isn't able to overstep the mark, and no one else wants to either. I don't want to overstep the mark. You probably don't want to overstep the mark, but my, is it cathartic to watch these guys. So you know what? I'm going to go S tier on this. We're going, give me 100 more anti-heroes. We love that stuff. Gentle Giant. It's an imposing figure of great strength who is unexpectedly kind, loyal, or compassionate. We're talking Hagrid out of Harry Potter, Hodor from Game of Thrones, or Fezzik from The Princess Bride. Oh, you know, there's just something lovable and about these types of characters. They got so much power about them, but they also got the thing that's more important than anything, a really big heart that just, you know, they will keep you safe. They will make you feel cozy. Like, if they're Hagrid, they will invite you round and give you rock cakes to break your teeth on. They're good people, you know? So I would say definitely gonna put these ones in A tier. I think they're always a good time. Mentors next. A wise guide who trains or advises the hero, often with magical or ancient knowledge. We're talking our Gandalfs, our Dumbledores, our Uncle Irohs of the world. I spoke about in my tropes video where I love a mentor. A mentor is someone that can guide you. They are wise. They have been there. They've been through it. And if you hear the words Uncle Iroh in a sentence, you know it's got to go into S tier. Give me 100 more mentors, although it would probably be pretty tricky to learn from 100 mentors, as they probably all have their own way of teaching, and it would hurt your head just trying to figure out which one to follow. But here we are. Next up, we have the sidekick, who is a faithful companion who offers emotional support, courage, or comic relief to the hero. We've got our Samwise Gamgees, we've got our Ron Weasleys, Somwell Tarleys from Game of Thrones. These are characters that are, you know, they're people that you wish you had as your friend. I want a friend as faithful as these three in my life. Nothing against my current friends, but I don't know, people like Samwise Gamgee are pretty difficult to live up to, you know, considering all the stuff that he's done. So these are characters that, again, I absolutely love them. I got a soft spot for them. I like it when they turn up, and, you know, they kind of offer a really good alternative to what the protagonist is giving. Sometimes protagonists can be kind of annoying because they're too good, or kind of overwhelming because of all the stuff they gotta be through. They just, sometimes they're just moping about, and sometimes they just need this fantastic sidekick character who is also going to be going in S tier, which is give me 100 more. Man, apparently there's quite a lot of character archetypes that I really like. We've got the comic relief character up next. They provide humor to balance tension, often through clumsiness or sharp wit, like Merry and Pippin from Lord of the Rings, the Weasley twins from Harry Potter, Sokka from Avatar. These are characters that, you know, they're good when they're around, they are good when they're around, but there is a huge danger of them kind of undercutting the overall conflict sometimes. We could be going for a really serious situation, and their humor can be detracting away from it, and if anything, that can come across kind of annoying. But then other times, you know, they are useful, because sometimes we're in a really bleak world, and we really need that moment of levity. So I'm gonna put them in the B, I don't hate you category, because, you know, I think they are a necessary part of the story, but they're not necessarily ones that I care for in fantasy. Trickster, a mischievous and unpredictable character who challenges norms and stirs chaos. You got your Lokis from Marvel, Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean, Matt Cawthorn from Wheel of Time. These characters are actually super fun, especially characters like Loki, who, like, you never know what they're gonna do, but you also don't hate them because you don't think that they're doing anything particularly out of being generally evil, although they do have their moments of doing questionable things, which does make me wonder, how much do I enjoy them in the story? I think they're gonna go into the A tier, which is always a good time. I haven't even found an F tier yet, so let's check out the next one, which is Damsel in Distress, which I already spoke about in my tropes video, but there's a bit of a different definition for this particular one. It's a vulnerable character in need of rescue, historically used to motivate the hero. We're thinking Princess Peach from Mario, Buttercup from The Princess's Bride, or Sansa Stark in early Game of Thrones. Another thing about the Damsel in Distress is that it really just kills the agency of one character. Whether we are specifying the gender or not, it just takes any agency away from that character. And therefore, for me, it is always kind of boring. And I think it's time we stop writing the Damsel in Distress. I think it's a really aged old archetype that doesn't really fit in modern/contemporary work. So yeah, feel free to tell me otherwise in the comments, but it's going straight in the F tier. Please stop writing this. I genuinely didn't say that I hadn't found an F until then, it was just accidental that happened. Occult detective, we've got a magical investigator who solves supernatural mysteries in urban or dark fantasy. We're talking Harry Dresden from Dresden Files, John Constantine from Hellblazer, Buffy Summers in Buffy. Yeah, these are like rugged rogues. These are people who have dealt with the occult before, who have a good understanding of the darkness, but they bring a level of light that we kind of need. They also have these kind of magical abilities that are always extremely interesting. I like the cynical ones the most, to be honest with you. I gotta say, I think an occult detective is in A tier. They are always a good time. We've got the Dark Lord up next, another one that I spoke about in my tropes video. It's the ultimate evil figure bent on domination or destruction, often a looming threat, like Sauron or Voldemort. I mean, I gotta say, the Dark Lord is similar to the Chosen One in the fact that it kind of serves its purpose when we see it. Maybe there are different things that you can do with said trope. However, as an adult who has discovered A Song of Ice and Fire, I find that I'm more compelled to villains that are a bit more than just the big evil bad one, and so I'm gonna put this one in the B category of I don't hate you. Now we got Tyrant, which is a cruel and oppressive ruler who abuses power for personal gain and control, like Joffrey, the White Witch in Narnia, or Lord Farquaad from Shrek. These guys are really interesting to watch. They're annoying and they're horrible, and I think, you know what, these are the better versions of the Dark Lord, in my opinion. These are the ones that you love to hate because, you know, of their need for personal gain. They do have something more about them. Their motives are much more clearer, and they're not quite as abstract as the Dark Lord. And so I'm going to put these ones more so in the A category. Evil Sorcerer, a powerful magic user aligned with darkness and forbidden arts, like Saruman from Lord of the Rings, the Darkling from Shadow and Bone, Morgan Le Fay from Arthurian Legends. These are all characters that I gotta say I do enjoy when they appear on the page, and I think they're a heck of a lot of fun, and so they're gonna have to go in Always a Good Time. Warlock, a male witch or dark mage who gains power through forbidden pacts or black magic. People like Gul'dan from Warcraft, Pyat Pri from Game of Thrones, Rumpelstiltskin from Once Upon a Time. These guys are interesting in their way. I think they're very similar to the previous ones. There's a level of mischief that comes with some of these characters. So watching them be quite mischievous and different, that's a little bit like the Trickster, though. I'm not it's close to being like the Trickster. What defines the Warlock, though, is that they're a male witch or dark magic. They gain power through forbidden pacts or black magic. Okay, so it's more to do with the pacts and the black magic behind them. I think they're quite formidable as characters, and again, they're another A tier for me, just because they're very interesting to watch, and they're very scary. They're very scary people who have a lot of power and also the way that they use persuasion as well. Ooh, all very interesting, and so has to go into the A tier. A Shadow Assassin, a stealthy, magically enhanced killer who eliminates targets from shadows. We got a few examples that I'm not really going to speak about in case they are spoilerific in some places. However, we all know that Shadow Assassin character. There's something extremely compelling about a Shadow Assassin. Not only are they super cool because they can like use magical abilities, which a lot of these characters that I'm talking about seem to be able to do that, but it's also the fact that you can actually explore the morality around assassination and how that affects the individual that is doing the assassinating. There are some examples here that show characters who don't necessarily feel happy about being an assassin. I wonder if you can guess who that is if you've read said book. And I find that's quite an interesting character for us to be able to look at and explore. And so it's going in A again with always a good time. I'm really impressed that majority of these like archetypes have just been ones that I just really enjoy reading about, and I think this kind of proves as to why I love fantasy so much, because there's just so many things within it that I do really enjoy. We're on the last peg now, but before we do get into that, please, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to find out when the next Tier List Tuesday video goes out. But without further ado, let's talk about the Undead King. That's an undead ruler or sorcerer who commands the dead and represents death incarnate. We're thinking like the Night King from Game of Thrones, the Witch King from Lord of the Rings, or Arthas from Warcraft. These are formidable, terrifying foes. They scare the bejeebers out of me. I would not want to come across one of these things, but if I do, then I want it to be on the page, and when it is on the page, I love seeing how our protagonist has to go up against this wall of the undead and having to find a new way to be able to survive, and some of the problems that these things cause. I absolutely think this needs to go into S tier. Give me 100 more. The Cursed Royal is a royal figure afflicted by a magical curse that affects the fate of their kingdom. We're talking about the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, Fiona from Shrek, and Prince Rilian from Narnia. Okay, so they've got a curse. The curse kind of like is affecting the rest of the kingdom. Something needs to be done about said curse, or else things will go badly. Yeah, does it excite me all that much? I'm trying to think about whether it excites me or not, because I actually don't really care for this one that much. It doesn't offend me in any way, though, so it's gonna go into the B category of I don't hate you. Woohoo! Heck yeah. So we've done Cursed Royal, we're moving on to Dragon Rider. A chosen warrior bonded with a dragon representing a great status and power. I think an Aragorn, Daenerys, and Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon. I just feel like in life I've not read enough Dragon Rider characters. Like, I think that we need more Dragon Rider characters in my life in particular. There's a book that I've bought this year that features dragons. I think it's called The Language of Dragons, which is set in the 1920s, and it's got like a dragon in it. I don't know what it's about, but it's on my shelf and it's waiting, and like, I love dragons a lot. Like, I didn't realize how much I love dragons until I really thought about how much I love dragons, and I do really love dragons. The good ones, the bad ones, the ugly ones. We love them all. Put them in the S tier. Next, we've got the Elven Archer, a graceful and deadly elven warrior, skilled with the bow and attuned to nature. Like Legolas from Lord of the Rings, basically. Yeah, the Elven Archer. Love the whole, like, attune with nature thing. Love the fact that they're an elf and they've got their own culture and that they're good with the bow. They're good with the bow and arrow, and the bow and arrow is probably one of the most coolest weapons to read about. I don't know, and play as well. You guys play Skyrim, you always fall into that, you know, bow and arrow combat. Bow and arrow combat just seems to be me when I play RPG characters. I didn't choose this life, it chose me, and that does mean that where do I stand with an Elven Archer? I'm not sure it's going to be an S tier, but I do think that they are always a good time, and so it's going into A tier. Bringing down with that penultimate. We've spoken about this in tropes. I've spoken about it at great length already in one of these, but dragon, it's a powerful ancient beast, sometimes a wise ally, other times a deadly threat. We're talking Smaug from The Hobbit, Drogon from Game of Thrones, or Saphria from The Inheritance Cycle. I do want to give a little bit more of a speech on dragons here than I did in my tropes video. Something like Smaug that can talk and does have this personality, I don't particularly like that style of dragon. I like my dragons to be a little bit like my animals, and not talking, just being cute and also communicating through other means. And so as a character, I think I'm going to be rating dragons in the C category of we need to talk. We need to talk about why this dragon is talking. I know Drogon was given as an example there, and he doesn't really fit into that, but I've just been thinking about what the difference between this dragon is and the trope videos version of dragon, and I think I'm going to go more down that route. So we need to talk about these dragons that are talking, because we need to stop with that. The shapeshifter. This is a character who transforms into an animal or other being, often caught between two worlds. We're talking Remus Lupin, like Harry Potter, Bjorn, The Hobbit, and Jacob Black from Twilight. It depends, really. This one really depends, because sometimes this is really cool. If they don't have the control of it, and it never said anything about control, I don't think. It said often caught between two worlds, probably meaning that it was caught between being one thing like the werewolf or being human. That in itself makes it more compelling and boosts it up a little bit, because I don't really like the idea of the shapeshifters that can just choose to shapeshift. Like Jacob Black, I think he can just choose, can't he? He doesn't just like transform. He just chooses to turn into a werewolf, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I am doing a read-through of Twilight at some point because it's on the cards. Probably not New Moon, though, so I don't know. Maybe I will, who knows. But for now, my limited knowledge of Jacob is that he can choose whether he's a werewolf or not. So I think when they've got a choice, they're not as good. But when they haven't got a choice, then they're a bit more interesting. And that is why I'm going to put them in the B category, because I don't hate you, but it very highly depends on what we do with the shape-shifting. Please let me know if there are any character archetypes that I missed off and what you would rank them. Or if you think that any of my rankings were totally wrong, tell me why and we can have a little chat about that in the comments. Also, if that isn't enough ranking for you, then don't worry, because you can check out this video next where I rank 100 tropes from fantasy fiction. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.